Hi, I'm John Cash. Welcome to John Cash Ministries and Revelations Church's Daily Devotion. Today I want to talk about including God in your plans. You know, God wants to be included in your life. He wants to be included in your present. He wants to be included in your future. And it is very natural for us to make plans and not include God. Now, if you're a Christian and you're a churchgoer, oftentimes we can make the mistake of making our plans and then telling God our plans. Even in a way, praying about it just a little bit, enough to go, oh, okay, everything's fine. And then you start going down this road, you've made your plans, and there's no lightning bolts from heaven stopping you. So you're like, hi-fi God, I'm right on your page there. But that's oftentimes not the case. So we need to include God in our plans, and it's all about perspective. Let me show you what God says about this. James chapter 4, verse 13 says this. Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow, we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business, and make money. So we're setting up an individual who is making plans, and they're planning for the next couple weeks, up to a year or two. And of course, their plans involve their jobs and making money. Of course, it's important to understand many of our plans revolve around the making of money. If we don't have money, well, we're on the street homeless. So that's important. It becomes an emotional topic for us. God wants to be involved in these plans. He wants for us to be able to hear his voice. Now, how do we include God in the plans? Well, number one, you begin to pray and you ask God with a humble heart, is this your will? You pray and you ask God to open and close doors. You go to wise, godly people and you ask for counsel and are willing to hear their counsel. Those are some ways that you can determine if you are on God's path. Perspective is also extremely important. Take a look at verse 14. Why, you don't even know what will happen tomorrow. That's a great verse. God says, you have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. We make our plans, but will we even be here? We make our plans, and then they suddenly fall through. I had something happen a few weeks ago. I had these plans. Everything was set. I was excited, and then boom, everything blew up. Literally everything. I'm like, okay, God, was I initially upset? Yeah. But eventually God said, you know what? I got you covered. I got you back. Those were not my plans for you. So you have to be able to be humble enough to say, okay. So one more time, look at verse 14. Why, you do not even know what will happen tomorrow. None of us can predict the future. I used to try doing it on TV. Didn't always turn out too well. Then he says this, what is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Now that's perspective. The picture is of a wave crashing ashore. You get the mist coming up from the wave crashing ashore. How long does that mist stay in the air? A few seconds and it's gone. God says that's what we are. We're on this earth for a limited amount of time, and then we're dead and gone. Having that perspective should keep us humble. God is going to give us a certain amount of time. Each person, he's appointed a certain amount of time while we're on this earth. And we are to take that time and use it in God's way and with God's plans. We can be in the perfect will of God, or we can be in what is called the permissive will of God. Being in the permissive will of God is making mistakes along the way, and God kind of guides you back. You might get some blessings there, especially if you get guided back and are listening. But the greatest blessings come when you are in the perfect will of God and you are on the path that he wants you to be on. Verse 15 reminds us then. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. And that is the central theme of this particular sermon. Is it the Lord's will? Where you are right now, are you in God's will? Are you on his path? He promises to light your path, but that would be the path that he wants you on. Too often, we get on a different path, and because there's no lightning bolts, we keep going down it. Well, that is a darker path, and God's not involved in that. So begin to seek God for your future. Never assume what your future is. Trust Him, and He will take care of you. God bless you, and thank you for your support.